Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crying is a Free Action, a podcast about politics and news in our home states, around the United States, and around the globe. My name is Justin. I'm joined here with my friends Al and Tommy. Al, how are you this week?
Still alive.
That's what I love to hear. That's better than the alternative. Tommy, how are you?
I'm sparkling clean.
Ooh, I like it. All right. So we are the team behind easyvotend.com, a little blog website that we are working on and do stuff with in an attempt to combat the political climate in the United States in any way, shape, and form that we can. That's why we're here. So that's what this is for. That's what we're trying to keep people informed. Fight fake news, I guess.
You asked them where the fake news.
Ooh, right. I mean, I literally show. Okay, okay, fake news. If it wasn't made by AI on Facebook, I don't believe it.
We're the fake news media now, boys. This is the end game.
Ooh.
It's getting really difficult these days to tell from fake news and real news, because opinions nowadays are treated as news. And, we're going to go back to the olden times. We're going to return back to the caves and get our news told by an apathetic white man. That's why that's why we have Justin up here.
That's true.
Hey, hi. That's me. All right, let's get into it. Al's going to leave us here about halfway through the show. He's got stuff to do. We want to kind of keep it brief. We are probably going to play some video games later, though, so look for that video and other content at all of our social medias, which you can find at easyvotend.com. We're on Blue Sky at easyvotend. We're on YouTube at easyvote North Dakota. And we're on Twitch at easyvotend. That's where we're at right now. Hello. Hi. Thank you. First story.
Wait, this is Twitch?
Is that again?
This is Twitch?
It's
I thought this was Twerker.
TV. Remember, does anybody remember Justin.tv?
No.
Yeah, I miss your website.
I don't. Oh, boy. My bones. All right. So we talked a little bit about this last week, and we bombed Iran, right?
Yes.
Except we did a bad job. We bombed.
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I take this? So the reason that this intelligence report is suggesting that is because the ordinance used to conduct a strike was called a massive ordnance penetrator, what they call the bunker buster bombs. But if my memory serves, I think they're only rated to go down to 200 feet, and allegedly the facilities in question that were targeted are 300 feet plus down. So I don't think they did the damage that they wanted them to do.
And so the watchdogs that had already been reporting on this, and now Intel has leaked and everything, that they didn't do, they only set them back by a couple of months, and that they're going to be enriching uranium again in a few months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So cool. We did it for nothing again.
Yeah, we wasted several million of taxpayer funds to essentially do nothing.
Yeah, yep. And for the week before, President Trump was telegraphing, telling people to get out of Tehran and all that kind of stuff. So
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when you can clearly see a squadron of B-2s on radar take off from fucking Missouri, where the fuck else are they gonna go when Iran's the literal hotspot right now? Like, he was saying, will I do it? Won't I do it? Yeah. I don't know. It's so predictable. It's very fucking easy to tell what you're going to do. When you keep talking about it, fucking Israel keeps egging you on about it, and now it's really all about the primetime spot for him because that's what this did. Was just it put him on the news, it put him on headlines. That's what he wanted.
It's like a
there was stuff on like Blue Sky and Twitter that were like, oh yeah, like bombers are in the air right now.
Yeah, I saw that shit on Twitter on not Twitter on fucking Reddit like
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
B2s took off from Missouri.
it's hard to do covert strikes these days. You have to understand, everybody has their eyes on you. You got to be much better to keep your intelligence and all your news.
When you're literally a fucking television, I guess. What's the word? When you're literally a television personality, that TV personality that running the country, what the fuck else do you expect?
Oh yeah, he just wants it to be one big popularity contest for him.
Mm-hmm.
And
then old Pete fucking Hedgehog over there talking about the Democrats. The Democrats were the leak, blah blah blah. But before that, they were bragging that they never told the Democrats. So which is it?
Yep, he is the most underqualified person I think ever for his job. So it's a pretty big deal when the president decides to bomb another country, and I had discussions with people over the last week or so about should the president be allowed to just order little covert strikes here and there as a treat kind of thing. And so he's the commander in chief of this country, where
Of the military, yes.
Yeah, and so I'm conflicted about the whole thing personally, so I'm going to leave that to actual constitutional and military lawyers.
Well, so the legality of the strike, I don't think can really be questioned because as long as it's in two fucking parts. Because one, he's required to inform Congress of any strikes like this within 48 hours. And it also requires that we not keep, I think, either troops on the ground or whatever for more than, 60 days or something like that? I don't remember specifically. But basically there's a time limit on what kind of operation should be or can be done by the president without congressional approval. So short of declaring war on another country, the president can kind of do anything that's within this restriction as far as it comes to military action.
So he literally can just do a little special forces as a treat. That's sweet.
Yeah, he can do a little bit of special forces. He can do a little bit of airstrikes here and there because Obama was doing airstrikes all over the fucking place with Predator drones, and most of those weren't. I'm not going to say most of them. I'm going to assume 99% of those were not congressionally approved, even though we were in a quote time of war.
No. Yep. I definitely don't agree with it. I don't think we should.
No, I definitely don't agree with it. I don't think we should be able to unilaterally go bomb anybody just because.
Yeah, just because. Yeah, the president. We voted for a guy who said, yeah, he likes that. So, what I do think it is absolutely an impeachable offense, because I know about that sort of stuff. And Al Green, I like Al Green.
Yeah, I like Al Green too.
Put this up as the articles of impeachment, and everybody was like, nope, including 130 Democrats.
Democrats, yep, I saw that.
And then we have that's Al Green. This guy's awesome. That's Hakeem Jeffries. That guy sucks.
Honestly, except all of the Democrats except for 3 of them, really. Which even I find it hard to call AOC a Democrat, and I find it, and Bernie's definitely not a Democrat.
And you find it's same with Kat Abigazale. She's running for Congress in District 9 of Illinois, and she's under the independent banner, but all of her stuff is through Act Blue, so maybe they're reaching out to more independent people, which would be a smart thing to do. I'm like Hakeem Jeffries. So it doesn't look like he's going to get impeached over this because these Democrats just want the status quo.
Yep.
Yeah. Not until like I don't think any impeachments would occur as long as the Republicans still hold the House, right? Because they have a really strong.
I mean, they have a majority in both the Senate, so it's not going to matter anyways.
Pretty much not. Yeah, and that is that very well could be a reason why a lot of them are just like, no, we're not going through this. Just let it go. And I get it, but like, have some solidarity. For
if it was me, I would just do it just to fucking inconvenience them at the very most.
Absolutely.
Or rather, at the very least, like I know it's not gonna go anywhere, but fuck you anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what resistance looks like, and it's not even hard. It's your job, especially when we're having a constitutional crisis.
I mean, whatever a constitutional crisis means, we're like way past that,
I also think we're way past constitutional crisis.
Yeah,
probably. So, it's a crisis, but if nobody's,
It was a crisis when it started, and he started doing shit like doling out all these executive orders. It's no longer a crisis, and it's just the Constitution has been left by the wayside. Especially nowadays that I don't know if you saw that the fucking Supreme Court basically ruled that federal courts can't do injunctions nationwide like that.
So let's talk about that story now then. That is basically the gist of it. Al, you put it very succinctly that it is no longer a crisis, and we don't know what what governs us now.
We're at uncharted territory at this point. I mean, it's
this is the precedent that has been set so far.
Yep. Combine that with the previous immunity ruling that they gave this fucking guy. I don't understand how anybody can just think that we're still in a constitutional crisis.
So,
we're beyond that.
I literally want to put it to like you and our audience, like he could just not leave power at the end of this term.
Yeah, he could. I think. I mean, and people keep saying that he wouldn't do that. Oh, he's just joking. Blah blah blah. But how many times has he said shit in quote unquote jest before and then gone through with it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like we keep trying to expect, that this presidency, he's gonna act like every other president before him, and the only one he acts like is himself. He's, part of the government relies on us acting in good faith and doing things. There's no really rules and barriers, and
it's a system we all agree on.
Yeah, it's essentially an honor system in a sense, because you expect the courts to be able to hand out these rulings or hand out these decisions, and you expect for the other two branches of government to follow these rulings in good faith. When you get a government branch that doesn't do that, like the executive is doing right now, there's nothing that's really stopping them, because the fucking the U.S. Marshals are under the executive branch,
correct,
but via the Justice Department.
So
and they're supposed to be the ones that enforce the judicial rulings.
Correct. At the federal level.
Yeah. And so it's and then you have all the other branches, not even really branch, all the other departments of the justice system, aka the FBI, the attorneys general or whatever, all of them fall under the executive branch. Yep.
Correct.
All of them fall under the purview of the executive branch, and all of them are essentially being staffed by people who are fucking, bending the knee to the president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The office of the president. And then you have people like Vance saying that the courts don't have the power to, which, I mean, now we're fucking seeing it. Evidently they don't.
That's been the case, though, for a long time, right? So even all the way back to, like, Andrew Jackson, right? So the idea is that, the court issues rulings, and then they're supposed to follow, but they can't enforce anything.
But they can't. They can, but 9 times out of 10 they don't, because, I mean, what other power do they have? How is the you would have to literally get somebody from that doesn't, from the U.S. Marshals or something, that doesn't agree with the executive to actually try to enforce these things. But I don't think we're gonna see that.
Probably.
We're definitely not. So yeah, this is, as I said, this is all started from Andrew Jackson, because he refused to enforce what's known as the court case Worcester versus Georgia, right?
Mhm.
Because of this kind of crap, which is trying to help, it kind of triggered what's called the Trail of Tears, which is kind of just forcing, Native Americans from
Native
off their
Americans
land
west, yes.
westward. So,
Yep.
it's a rough one. You're supposed to try to get 3 equal branches. The 2 should help try to, knock out the third, basically trying to have control for power. But we have a situation now. We have Congress who is willing to secede their power to the president, and the court is taking their responsibilities to the other ones. So this is the most powerful president in history.
Correct.
And I don't say that as a compliment.
Nope.
No.
So
not one bit.
It's a really bad thing, as we can see.
Yep, the rise of authoritarianism.
Correct.
Let's just have a single dude. So.
Well, I think we're giving him too much credit. This goes back to all the people he's got in power, including, including old fucking Stephen Miller, fucking, fucking Hedgehog, whatever the fuck his name is.
Old Susie, she's pulling his strings like crazy.
She's pulling his strings.
Peter Thiel, that crazy nut job. I saw everybody who funded this, essentially. Mm-hmm. Peter Thiel is a dangerous fucking person. That is a fact. The Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor warned that no one is safe after this birthright citizenship ruling, and that's true. Basically, that is something that is codified in our Constitution, that they were like, yeah, the president can kind of do what he wants with it. Like, he can interpret it a little bit as a treat, which just means he can do whatever the fuck he wants, because they're not going to enforce anything then. Like, they just gave him a hall pass to basically do whatever he wants.
Yep.
And essentially, yes.
So
it's real bad.
So let's see. So I guess the big thing is, trying to end universal nationwide injunctions, right? So that's kind of the big thing. Is usually what happens is, we go, you have an issue that goes to the courts, and then the courts of a certain area will say, hey, this affects a lot more people than just you, right? So then when so
they'll push out a nationwide injunction, and that basically stays anything related to this for the entire country until this case is solved.
Yeah. And part of it is like, the idea is that, injustice in one place is injustice everywhere, right? Because justice should be blind.
Correct.
Right? But they still have a little exception clause of saying, hey, this particular ruling is saying that it should only affect the people who are in the lawsuit. Why is it affecting other people in some ways, right?
Right.
And also, because that's why it's restricting, saying you can't do nationwide injunctions. It's only for a given little area and district. They did make a little bit of an exception case for what's known as class action lawsuits, which are, if you declare a class of people saying that they're affected. So what this means is this is one way that we can use things that are kind of like nationwide injunctions, but it's a lot more work, a lot more things to prove what is specifically is an affected class, right? Affected classes are just like designations of like certain people, like, here are like farmers, here are like, women, gays, all those kind of things. Those are what we call like protected classes.
Immigrants could be a class, yes?
Immigrants could be a class.
Go on.
But they have to be named inside the lawsuit, right? So when sometimes you get mails saying you want to join this class action lawsuit of people who bought like a Nokia phone that exploded.
Yeah, like a good example of this would be a class action lawsuit would be the 3M lawsuit that people had. Well, people from veterans, people from the military had against the company 3M for faulty earplugs that didn't really do anything to prevent hearing loss and tinnitus. So I was a part of that suit.
Yeah, and it takes a longer time to first develop these things. So
from the time that I started that lawsuit, I guess I got into that lawsuit. I guess it was like 3 years before anything happened, and there's still people that are going through it because obviously everyone's hearing loss and effect is different.
Yeah. So we still have ways to fight, but they've made it that much harder.
They've made it harder. That's right. That's the idea. They want to make it so hard for people to be able to stand up to what they're doing that eventually they hope people will just give up.
Yep. They want us all to be very tired. That's why we all need to be doing this. That's me on my soapbox. Speaking of shitty soapboxes, the next story was about them having no vacation time to pass this bill. And they took some of the shittiest part out of it, but the long-term shitty stuff is all still in there, and they passed this thing like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep, they passed it overnight.
Yep, that's when you love to hear it, is when we got to get this done at 1 a.m. We got to go on vacation. I got golf and I got brunch tomorrow, boys. So, a bunch of the Medicaid stuff didn't make it through, but there are still going to be huge cuts.
I think it's like 700 and some still that's going to get cut from Medicaid, bro.
It's a lot. It's still a lot.
Yep.
It's bad. Hospitals are going to close. It's like people are going to see drops in revenue in their community.
And so they were apparently going to hold off on it because of the whole. I think it was a senator from Montana that wasn't going to vote on it because of the land part of the bill. Yep. But they convinced him to vote yes, based on the expectation that they're going to be able to add an amendment to remove that part.
Yeah, so that's
I don't expect that they're going to do that.
Perfect segue. So yeah, this piece of shit, Mike Lee, wanted to sell sell a lot of public
3.3 million acres. That's a lot of fucking land.
A lot of land.
It's a lot of public like national parks.
Correct.
Yeah.
And shit like that. To sell it off to the highest bidder for more, guess fucking what? More strip mining, more fucking,
they're not going to preserve it. So
no, not at all.
Yeah, that's the only resources left in this country, and they want them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to play a little clip of Mike Lee. He is the guy who wants to do this. And he also was the guy who tweeted the picture of alleged killer Vance Bolter in Minnesota.
Yeah, it said that this is what you get when you vote Democrat, essentially.
Yeah. And so this is what Jon Stewart has to say about Mike Lee.
Here's Mike Lee tweeting this weekend about the assassination of a Democratic legislator and her husband, just hours after we all learned about this tragedy.
Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah posted a picture of the suspect at the door of one of the lawmakers with the caption, "This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way."
And by the way, he didn't just post that. He pinned that to the top of whatever the it is that you pin stuff on Twitter, your Twitter refrigerator to show off your Twitter work. And then to let all of us know that is not the depth of his depravity, that he can go deeper. He posted this.
The senator posted another picture with the caption, "Nightmare on Wall Street," mocking, of course, the name of the Minnesota governor.
Okay, first of all,
yeah, essentially kind of acting like he's supporting the fucking assassin. Nightmare on Wall Street. Like, how much of a fucking ghoul do you have to be to do that?
Right?
And second, I truly want to know why, in his mind, one death, the hands of an immigrant, is worth $150 billion of border security, a militarization of American cities. Well, just the blue cities. I know the undocumented immigrants in red state fields are the good ones now, suddenly. That and I guess Mar-a-Lago hospitality workers. But I want to know,
now that Jon Stewart's mentioning it,
why those deaths in Minnesota are worth
let it be known that this was not an immigrant who killed these people. This was domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And nothing is being fucking done about it.
Absolutely. And
then, because there's more and more, there's fucking cells of these people all over the country. and nothing is being done about it. But no, you gotta go after the fucking immigrant selling fucking fruits on the corners. You gotta go after the fucking dudes at Home Depot looking for work.
We actually did a story a few months ago about when Trump first took over. One of the first things he did was disband a group of FBI agents that was, or like DHS, FBI, like Joint Task Force kind of thing.
Yeah, they were looking into extreme. He did it again.
Yep. So yeah, these people are gonna run rampant, and I didn't have time to add it. I saw it on another news story. Reese Waters, you should follow him on YouTube. He is fantastic.
He's great. Yeah, Reese Waters is amazing.
Yes, super insightful, super intelligent, super funny guy. Did you see the one with the guy who stopped those Latino drivers like a fake cop?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
He was the most disrespectful holy shit. I'll maybe find that for next week. Anyways, yeah, so Mike Lee sucks and fuck him forever. This is another one that's near and dear to our hearts because we've had this meme up rotating through the thing for a while.
Yeah, guess we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, if I left the country, do you think they'd let me back in? I don't like.
I think he'd be detained, bro. He'd probably get detained and then sent to Guantanamo or fucking El Salvador.
For audio listeners, man is refused entry in the U.S. as Border Control catches him with the bald JD Vance.
JD Vance meme, yep.
So this guy, this dude. Okay, do I have a picture of him? Oh no, I don't. Okay, so he's like 21. He's a kid. His name
from
is
Norway.
Shit, Mads Mikkelsen, not related to the actor in any way.
Wow.
I know. That's what I said. I was like, what? No way. It's gonna be I'm gonna spin that into a funny story someday. Anywho, and then Borders and Customs Enforcement was like, well, that's not why we didn't let him in. It's because he used pot twice in his life. What?
That's never been a problem before.
No. Literally.
Yeah.
When I've only been to Canada a couple of times, and only once as an adult. And when I was coming back from Canada, they stopped me and they're like, "Have you ever done drugs before?" I said, "Once or twice. I smoked pot." And they were like, well, what was it, once or twice? And I was like, I don't remember, man. And he was like, oh, okay. And that was it. That was it. And then, like, okay, so unironically, my friend worked for a custom, like system integrator PC builder up there in Canada. And he was bringing this fucking monstrous water-cooled gaming PC with. And the one agent, like, he's just got like an MP5 strapped to his chest the whole time. He's like, whose supercomputer's that? Like, it was, and then like as soon as they were like, oh, these are just kids going from Canada to the United States, like, it was cool, and that's how it should be. Like,
yeah, this is
scary enough with a bunch of, like, because they were all tacked out, man. I'm like, this is the fucking Canadian border at North Dakota. What's gonna happen here?
Wild.
And that was in like 2006.
So, I mean, a lot of this, because of this issue, right, where from, I guess, we call like ICE and stuff, people looking through other people's phones, especially for tourists and travels. I do remember a story back in like April where like the EU staff were just issuing burner phones to their officials for people coming into America to have to go travel in between America and stuff because of these kind of extremely invasive, security measures.
If they find any, if they can ask to look at your phone, and if they find anything,
that's one thing.
If they find anything
is that
you don't have to give them your phone, but they're probably
always put a passcode on your phone, and they have to have a warrant to open that or your permission. And if we'll put you in jail or give you a fine. No, they can't. And the fact that they are threatening people with that should be illegal.
Should be.
That's stupid. Especially foreigners who are just coming here as tourists. Like, we are literally doing the things, like, like Europeans that are like, oh, I'm gonna go to Russia as a tourist, and it's like then they all get detained because they had a Bible or some shit, you know, and then
then
now we're doing that shit.
Yep. Except now we're doing it if you have anything that is talking bad about the current administration.
About dear leader.
Yep.
Holy
Yep,
leader.
That's
So
why
yeah,
always have a
everybody
burner
download
phone.
that onto your phone in solidarity.
Just keep listening to this podcast.
That's
We're
right.
gonna make this our main.
That's right. You'll see it all the time. You'll never be allowed to travel. Not like you can afford it anyways. Oh yeah, this guy. I don't even want to say his name because I don't want to give him any credit, but he is an idiot. He is like, I don't want to say wealthy, but like he makes good money, and he like donated all of his.
He donated it to the Trump campaign
because
he's
it all to the Trump
idiot.
campaign, and now ICE fucking detained
Took his wife.
No shit.
Well,
The leopards surely wouldn't eat my face.
No, surely not.
So
not today, not tomorrow, not the day after.
So this guy, he begs that this family deserves dignity and respect. Only his. Like, no, but
only
his.
His
Money.
yeah.
We're one of the good ones. So this guy's
totally.
Shit. Fuck him.
Him, and every fucking person like this that voted for this shit, and then got surprised when their family members were detained.
Yep.
The immigration process takes many years. It's difficult and long. So,
Yeah, that's. I mean, the immigration process here in this country is pretty fucked. It's not like everybody always compares this to like going to Europe, but like I don't really feel like there's that many people in Europe immigrating to other European countries because they have open borders.
Right.
yeah.
Like, you can just go from country to country
Yeah.
and whatever. In the European Union, they don't. Sure, you have the refugee things, but they're doing that out of charity. They're doing that out of what's the word? Humanitarian efforts. They're doing that out of humanitarian efforts because all these fucking places are, for lack of a better word, they're shitholes right now because of a very exactly a very multi-pronged variety of issues. Let me put it that way, which includes us. And 9 times out of 10, it's our the United States' fault that shit is fucking sideways. Any given country in the world you can go, and if shit is sideways, there's at least a 90% chance that it's the Americans' fault. United States, excuse me.
Absolutely. Pretty much. And then that all just goes back to like white imperialism too. We just are.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a story from Rolling Stone. Stephen Miller, who I think I hate the most, maybe? I don't know. It's really tough.
That is a tough one,
Yeah,
bro.
but
That's
he's up
because
there.
he's up there. They all have very fucking punchable faces. They all seem like they never got enough attention as children.
But that's the thing, though, is
cetera,
like Stephen Miller's family are like normal, cool people, and they're like he's the weird black sheep, and so like I don't know, some people are just born evil, I guess.
It is when we watch this man get confronted in like interviews, he just starts screaming at you.
Yes.
So
yeah, he's not like eloquent or anything either. He doesn't.
No,
have
not at
charisma
all.
or anything. He's like kind of.
No, he's just a fucking. I hate to throw my boy Gollum into this, but he's just like a Gollum. He's like
my precious. Again, this guy sucks for multiple reasons. He's the reason ICE is doing what it's doing. If you didn't know, this is Stephen Miller. That's literally Stephen Miller's pet project. And why? Well, because he stands to make a bunch of money from it. Because ICE is using a database system built by Palantir, which is owned by Peter Thiel, who put J.D. Vance in the vice president position.
Yep.
So Stephen Miller owns
Peter Thiel put J.D. Vance in the Ohio Senate seat.
That's true.
And then helped him get.
Correct.
And then basically brought him to Trump and talked to Trump about making him his vice presidential candidate.
Correct. Because it sounded like Trump was going to pick Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
Which would have been hilarious. And this is why I keep saying Peter Thiel is an incredibly evil and dangerous person. Anyways, so Stephen Miller has a stake in Palantir, and what Palantir is doing is they are making tracking and database software and like facial recognition software and things of that nature for the government to buy, so they can track people. And this also comes with RFK saying like, oh, everybody should wear a wearable by the end of the year or whatever the fuck he was saying. And this is because they're figuring out ways to track you with your biometrics.
Yeah, remember when they said that the Democrats are going to put chips inside you with the vaccines?
Yeah, man.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
They're fucking handing this thing to you, and you are taking it with a glad hand.
I mean, I got my.
And then either way, you know, we've been fucking trackable for. I mean, since the inception of the smartphone. To be honest with you,
I mean, that's true.
The moment the smartphone was fucking able to have GPS functionality and navigational capabilities, it became, you know, that was it. If you think that you're not being tracked at all times, somehow, somewhere, the difference is that this is being done like on purpose now. Like they're actually actively going to track people now.
Yep.
The conspiracy theorists were right.
Yep.
They're, you know,
they got this guy elected. Good job.
And the conspiracy theories elected this shit. Yes.
Correct. You done did this to yourself. Stephen Miller sucks, and I hope he gets hit by a bus.
That escalated quickly, but I agree.
So, speaking of ICE continuing to be shitty, this poor fella.
Another one.
Yes. His name is Johnny Navieo. He is a Canadian citizen, and he did some time in Canada for some drug crimes, and he had that was some time ago. And he was down in Florida. We're not sure why. This is the problem with all of this, is ICE is just doing whatever the fuck they want. There's no accountability, so we don't have any details. But he died. He died in ICE custody, and I heard an interview with his lawyer, his former lawyer, who helped him when he was in Canada with the drug charges and whatnot, and he had advised Johnny's dad, Angelo, to call an immigration lawyer, and it sounded like the immigration lawyer like never got through to anybody or anything like that, and then all of a sudden a reporter got a hold of his former lawyer, and that is how he was informed that the Canadian Johnny Navieo had passed away. And we really have no details on this yet, and they're gonna put this on there. Well, we don't comment on active investigations, and we don't have to release details because it's an in custody.
Of course, they're going to investigate themselves and find there was no wrongdoing. They're going to say he died from some sort of condition, etc., etc.
Yeah, why he died? I'm looking up information on this guy, and it says here that this guy, you know, he's been in the United States as a lawful permanent resident since 1991. So, you know, he owns Daytona Auto.
Yeah.
He co-owns Daytona Auto. So this guy's just been in here forever.
He's a local business. He's a literal reformed convict who is now a small business owner and part of his community. What else do you want from the guy?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is insane. So.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop off for...
On that sunny note, farewell, Al. Thank you for joining us today.
For joining us.
Thanks for having me, as usual.
I'm going to just do that. And now he's gone. Bitch ass. Anyways. Sick. Yeah, he was still here. All right. This was one you sent me, Tommy. I want to say I like this one, but I don't like what happens in this. But this is a good story we should tell. And I'm going to read what I have here on it. Se-Jun Park was forced to self-deport after his green card was revoked. Park is a U.S. Army combat veteran who was wounded while serving for the United States during the Noriega conflict. He developed severe PTSD, and he started using drugs to cope with it, and ended up getting addicted to crack. And he said that drugs had controlled his life at that point, and so he had a small prison sentence in 2009. It was something like 2.5 years, but he's been clean and sober for 14 years. Living in Hawaii, just like being a family guy, and his green card got revoked, and so he had to go back to South Korea. And his quote, and I agree with his quote so much, it says, "President Trump sucks. I will try to come back after Trump leaves."
Yeah, and this is like I said, these are one of the things where, because of the way we're handling, immigration is very blunt, right? We're just taking anybody who, had any kind of issues and then just sending them off through the border, right?
Correct.
It's breaking up families. It's, in fact, this guy basically has, served his time for this country, and also served his time for his, issues, for his crime. 14 years, no drugs, and because they just had a blanket ruling of just like, we're going to cancel all these people, who have any kind of issues and crimes of their permanent residency. This is a big problem. So, I said, I don't know what else you want. This is more American than most Americans to me, if you go into the army and war and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. It's really sad. I really hope that if he wants to, he can return to the United States someday. That just sucks. That really sucks.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. Who is this good for? That's what I want to know. Who is this good for? Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this helps nobody. And if we're not just talking about just like Latinos stuff. No, it actually affects every single person, because many people across the world come and live here in the United States.
Absolutely.
And they love it here.
Yeah.
So.
And that's how we should want to keep it. We already talked about the Supreme Court thing. This is actually, speaking of people in the military, this is a story I wish I had covered while Al was still here, but I can talk to grooming standards and stuff too. This one bugs me a lot. So, let's see here. What is this? There it is. Pete Hedgehog wants an all-white military, and I'm convinced of that. Because you should just look at his podcast and see who is on it, and you'll see what he's into. That is all out there for you. Go look at it. That's there. So this is it's a new shaving policy that's being rolled out for the military that would disproportionately affect black males who suffer from the skin condition that I wasn't going to even try to pronounce.
Folliculitis, or
and so what they're changing is that with these new shaving standards and grooming standards, people that suffer from this can now be kicked out of the military, medicaled out, and you won't get disability or anything like that for it, because no. And they're like, well, some people could be referred to laser treatments, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that in Pete Hedgehog's Warfighters Army. You're either going to deal with it, or you're going to get kicked out. And that's how they're going to want it. It's also another way for keeping black males away from promotions and things of that nature by hemming them up on grooming standards. Yeah. If you don't know about military grooming standards, you have to they're strict. You have to follow them for there's a whole ethos behind it, and I like it personally, but this is stupid, and it's racist, and Pete Hedgehog is racist. So
yeah, I'm trying to see if this was a situation where it was allowed, but only because it was for a little bit, because it was just something that maybe is under a Democratic president's thing. So right, so I'm trying to look for that kind of information to see if that was the case. And I think I see an article from I guess it's from Stars and Stripes.
Okay.
So back in 2024, but this is the only one I found. It was specific for the Air Force. Okays a program to try to see if they can, allow some beards.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So, but yeah, that definitely did.
And,
Shaving. Yeah, go ahead.
when I worked for a company out in Seattle. We were basically private police, and one of the guys was Muslim, and he needed to have a beard, and they were like, "You have to shave the beard," and I was just like, "Don't make him shave the beard. Who gives a shit? Like, it's well groomed. He's kind of a good looking dude, and the beard makes it look all right, and he looks." Like he was in good shape. I'm like, he looks professional out there. Let the dude keep his beard. Like, why make such a like? It bugged the shit out of me. Like, if it's his heritage, like that's more important than our grooming standards, in my opinion. As long as it's appropriate, I guess. So
Yeah. And I guess, yeah, I said for members of like the black community, right? Like shaving, definitely the way that they want nice and clean. It really, it can't, a lot of ingrown hairs and stuff. It's pretty tough. So,
and that shit sucks. It hurts. It's distracting, and you're like, if you suffer from it, you have it all the time, basically.
I think I found the article. Okay, so. Yep. So this happens. I'm seeing this on the Telegram. Okay, I guess I can probably just share my screen. Hang on. So this is it definitely is a case where it is. Wait a minute. This might just be British. This is just a British article.
I was going to say, I do believe the Telegraph is a British publication.
Yep, the king, who's the commander-in-chief, signs off on the decision.
Excellent.
Okay,
well,
never mind.
We should get used to that. We'll be ruled by a king soon.
Never mind. Fake news.
Moving on. So, speaking of fake news, all the intel that Tulsi Gabbard never gave Trump during the security briefings he didn't attend, she won't be at the... So now they're having... This is like click girl chat bullshit, except in our White House, where they're like, ooh, Tulsi's not invited intelligence brunch anymore, Like, her intel is bad, so she doesn't get to come to the cool girls bowling night. And it's just like, we bombed Iran, and this is how you're going to act?
So, yeah, so this is pretty bad. Okay, so since Tulsi Gabbard is no longer invited to do the intelligence briefings, she is a director of national intelligence.
She is the intelligence, or should be.
She is the intelligence. But like a director's job is basically to get a bunch of reports from the people under them, so that they can formulate and provide kind of news and things to, like, let's say the CEO of our country, right? This is how it works in other companies. This is how it works in my company. I have directors. I talk to the director, and me and 20 other people talk to the director, and then the director then talks to my CEO. So the fact that this is happening, we absolutely have zero intelligence going to the president. Not that he wants to go to them anyways, because... we
have zero intelligence going to the president and zero intelligence coming from the president.
Yep, so there's no intelligence, so I don't know what her job is. If she is not going to these intelligence briefings, this person should not have a job. Basically, this is literally her only job.
Sitting in her office staring at the executive ball clicker,
Yeah, so,
this is... I wanted one of those on my desk.
So this tells me at least that she is probably going to be fired very soon. Maybe not, but if you're not there to do the main thing you need to do, which is advise our president, even though our president doesn't have the attention span to be advised, everything has to be like a news broadcast now to him. Hi, Mr. President, welcome to our, broadcast. But yeah, so this guy is definitely... Tulsi Gabbard is definitely on her way out, I think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it 30 days. I'm going to do another bet on stream.
Ooh,
Tulsi Gabbard's gonna be out within 6 months, because otherwise Justin gets my VV.
Oh no, I need a no, nothing that valuable, because
that's a lot of money.
Do you want to see the only card that is within reach that I can bet?
Sure. I'm looking. I'm waiting. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Yeah, you know, this is too expensive. This is too expensive of a
They
bet.
are. I don't think these prices are going to hold. Well, I hope these high prices don't hold. I don't like high prices on cards. Anyways, we're making good time. We only got a little bit left. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Trump phone. Everybody loves the Trump phone.
Yep.
Guess what? It's not made in America. Who would have thought? We don't make phones here. We don't have the stuff to do it. And then also they're like, wait, these are subject to tariffs? How is that possible? Because they're not made here. And that's how tariffs work. So it's just bad news all around for the shitty... Also, it's still a crappy phone from 2016, just so you're aware. Well, I wanted... How did they word this? The T1 phone 8002 gold version. That's some Ibanez guitar naming scheme there.
Yeah. It's I'm looking at this one here. So I think I have the average here. It's okay. So okay, I don't want to share it to give them anything basically, but they're announcing so we're doing Trump Mobile, right? $47.45 per month. That's quite expensive for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unlimited talks, text, and data, complete device protection, 24/7 roadside assistance, telehealth stuff, free international calling over 100 countries, no contracts, no checks. This was the idea that they're trying to push for the Trump phone. You know, this is definitely just something that was probably come up as a cash grab. And I do love it that this reminds me of what people used to call the Obama phone, right?
Oh.
Which was a program to allow, you know, low-income people to, you know, have mobile devices.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I forgot about the Obama phone.
So yeah, I remember making fun of it, but at the time, but it really did help people.
It's a good thing, yeah.
In fact, it helped over 20 million people get phones, basically, and access. But you know, for the most part, it is something that people it was able to get access to phones, so they can like get jobs and other kind of things for quite a low price. I'm trying to remember what the price is. I'm trying to look for it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not it, because $47 a month is expensive.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Also, it looks terrible. It's piss yellow. It's just unhealthy piss. It has an AMOLED screen. Oh, 6.25 inch. It's small.
6.25 inch. I mean, I think that's an average size.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I mean, my phone's pretty big. I think. I think that might be 6 point something. So.
Ooh, it's so gaudy. Oh god, yeah, it's gaudy.
It's pretty bad.
That thing sucks. You know what?
And it's not lies.
Yeah. Yep. We've made good time today, Tommy. Thank you so much for that.
All right, great.
We are probably going to play some video games later, so you can check us out at all of the places I mentioned at the top of the show, and I'll mention them again. We're on Blue Sky at EasyVoteND. We are on Twitch at EasyVoteND. We're on YouTube at EasyVoteND. We are on Spotify at EasyVoteND. And I think those are the places we're at. You can also go to parallaxgames.org. You should also just to find all the stuff, it's just go to easyvotend.com. That's the easiest way. It looks just like that. That's a picture of the beautiful Capitol. I took that picture. It looks better on mobile, but I still like it. So, thank you for being here with us today. Same bat time, same bat place next week. Look for some video games later. Probably some Dune, I would imagine. So
yeah,
perfect.
Pretty hot right now. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for
Take care.
watching.